Getting ready. Oh boy, we are live. It's time for some Java. There we go. All right. Oh, hello, people. How are you doing?
A little delayed from the
Um,
camera to the comp, but
yeah, there will be a
nice.
slight delay, but we're just waiting for a couple people to chill in. I'm gonna share the link, so no rush.
Getting a little close to you.
Oh, you up close? All right. All right. We'll just scooch in here. Scooch in there a little bit there. I think I share the link. There, guy. Hope everybody's enjoying their amazing Saturday. It's a Saturday, right?
It's Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, yeah. To those who are just watching while they're at work, it's awesome.
Yep, company time.
Working hard or hardly working.
Yeah, right. We are live.
And we are Broken Cross Paranormal.
We are. I
Rob,
apologize. I'm Rob. And this amazing person here is Cole.
cold-blooded.
All right. Share that. There's the phone. There's the phone. Put my phone away.
Even though no one's watching, hey, today we're going to be talking about how we got into everything, how we got into this field,
This and
past stories.
Yep. What made you get into paranormal?
It started off when I was super young, like 6, 7. I used to have these dreams that something would be sitting on the edge of my bed, and I'd feel my bed actually creak down, and that's when I knew there's something else that I couldn't see. First time that really solidified my belief in it was at my father's farm up north. Very magical farm. It hard to explain, but it just radiated energy everywhere. And my father practiced Wicca at the time, and he was teaching me all the good stuff to live in harmony with nature. And he worked for BC Rail at the time, so I would be left at home at his place alone when I was 7, 8 years old. And just how the house was set up was just one floor, but I'd always see this Native American with a full headdress walk through the hallway into the dining room and out through the porch doors, and I would see him daily, and it was terrifying. The only way I could sleep was just staying awake until I actually fell asleep. Until one night, the fear became so much, and I was so young I didn't know what to do. So what I did, I went into every single room in that house, and I said, "It's okay." That's all I said. I'm like, "It's okay, it's okay." And as soon as I said that, it it was like a switch. It no more fear, and it was just coexisting with a spirit that lives there, and you know you see the residual. I guess that would be stone tape theory, like, because I kept on seeing him walk through the same thing, never changed, never looked at me. But
I think so. That was your first experience?
that was my experience that got me. Yeah, around 7, 8 years old, seeing that Native American. Yeah, that would be my first time that made me a believer. What about you?
I think the first time I ever saw anything was past Creek Falls in Castlegar. We were camping with family, and it's really hard to remember because I was like super young. I don't remember age, maybe 5, maybe younger. But my uncles, who are really close in age with me, only like within 10 years of age, had pointed out this white being walking through the campsite. We all saw it. And I vaguely remember being extremely scared, but extremely, like, exhilarated at the same time. And
Felt like a gravitational pull towards it.
I just wanted to know what it was, because
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't a person. It was the shape of a human, but like smoke. You could see through it, and it was like moving and wisping within itself.
Almost like an ectoplasmic mist.
I guess so,
Perhaps?
yeah. It was, I don't know, it's hard to describe because I was so young, but that's like the first memory I have of seeing something that wasn't there. And then I had, we lived at this house when I was probably grade 10. I want to say grade 9, grade 10. I think it was graduation, the whole like high school. So this house was formerly owned by the HA, and there was an open dirt pit in the basement, and like a massive sized freezer in the basement, and like we'd never put anything in the basement because it was so creepy. But
Yeah, you could just imagine what went
Yeah.
down in there. Yeah.
and like in the basement, you would go downstairs, and there were just creepy vibes in each of the 3 rooms. But the moment you would turn to go up the stairs, you'd hear feet running up behind you, and everyone heard it every time they went downstairs. And it was the freakiest fucking thing ever, because like you start booking it
Fuck.
up the stairs, and you'd hear footsteps up those stairs every night, because the way the stairs are, they kind of come around, and then you go into the kitchen, and then my bedroom was there, so my wall was connected to the stairs, and you'd hear footsteps every night, and then footsteps in the hallway, and then the room beside mine had a little baby room, like a little off room
Oh yeah.
to it that had this weird energy. And my mom was dating a guy who was working towards becoming a priest at the time. He was becoming a pastor. And this house just like was super negative in the aspect that, like I've mentioned it in previous episodes but cut it out, was that this house gave me an attachment for years and years. And it was very evil, and it hated Christianity, like despised it. So like there would be times where I would out of nowhere get angry with him about his religion and weird things like that. Probably still stems to today. But
Was there a lot of like fights and
strictly between me and him, and it was about religion.
really?
Yeah, I would like try to pick apart. Yeah, it
So
was
it
weird.
attached
It was
to
like
you
it
to
was
attack
forcing.
him.
Yeah, it's how it kind of felt. And the baby room, which is where I had set up my room, and I had like this is where I used to smoke when I was younger, and like my TV and my gaming area kind of a thing. And this room, you would always hear this child screaming. And I have 3 friends that have heard it, and like Julia and Alex, and Julia was dating one of my other best friends at the time, Derek, and all of them have heard it. And it's like a baby screaming, but like struggling to breathe, so it's hard to describe. And it came from like the little vent that led to the basement. So it was really a really creepy house, and just a lot of weird things would happen in that house. Things wouldn't move. I've never had a place, like I've never lived in a place where shit moved, but I've had a lot of really creepy experiences. So
Yeah. Back to that growing up and hanging out at my father's farm there. These are all true stories. My father, if you know him, he's a very, very old school man. When he talks, he doesn't just talk to bullshit. He says what he means to say and says what he means, right? So when he tells you stories about shit that happened to him when he was alone on the property, you believe it because he has no reason to lie, right? So supposedly there was a boy that passed away. His name was Robbie. Passed away in my room, which was my room, and he used to play tricks on my dad all the time. My dad would be out working in the garden, and doors wide open, middle of the summertime, and my dad would come back, try to go into the house, deadbolts turned on, all doors shut, locked. He had no idea. And then I forget what happened. One other night he was laying in bed, and he had I guess what you would call a wise sage come by and do a cleansing of the house, the smudging of the Palo Santo and sage, etc., and try to remove these spirits or see what was going on. And Robbie didn't like that too much and woke my dad up in the middle of the night with a bloody nose. My dad said that he felt somebody just crank him right in the nose. And my dad woke up and there was blood everywhere, and he had black eyes. He was punched in the nose in the middle of the night after the seance.
Alright.
Yeah, and
That's insane.
Could
you imagine getting punched in the face by a spirit?
Yeah.
Like, you can't do shit about that.
No, and
It's like fighting a bird.
They say spirits can't hurt you. Like, the amount of energy that would have had to take to put that force, let alone with ghost spirits just moving little things here and there, but to punch somebody and have a reaction of 2 black eyes and a bloody nose.
No, that's true.
Just to stand on that kind of subject, my father, he got really sick years ago, and he was near death, and that was basically the only way he had to come near death to overcome this pathogen he had.
Mm-hmm.
And so near death, my dad, still in this farm, like I said, 1 floor, he walked out of his bedroom, walked down the hall into the washroom. The washroom was just at the end of the hall. And when he came out, you could look straight across through the house, through the glass sliding doors, and you can see outside. And then the neighbor had this huge, massive spotlight, like 25 feet up on this random pole. And they had it on all the time, just dummies, but whatever. It illuminated onto my father's property, and my dad had this pear tree just outside of the glass sliding doors. And my dad came out of the washroom, and he looked through the glass sliding doors, and he said that he saw the Grim Reaper staring right at him. It was a big, tall man, like almost 7 feet tall, big cloak. He said it didn't have a sickle, but it was just staring at him and staring. And my dad, being old school, like I said, he doesn't know what it is, thinks it may be trespass or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
He gets all worked up, runs up to the window, and is like looking at it, and the thing kind of, according to my father, the Grim Reaper kind of would be like a ghostly, like, whoosh, looked, and then backed away and evaporated into the mist. Oh, wow. All under the spotlight from the neighbors. And basically with talkings with my dad from years ago, he concluded that was Grim Reaper leaving him, because he's still alive, he beat it, and that was basically the turning point in his life, where he went from bad and he started healing. So that's pretty creepy.
Yeah, no, that's definitely creepy.
Yeah,
I've definitely had a lot of weird experiences, but most of them have like kind of just faded from my memory, which is a weird concept. Because I think about some of the ones, like I was in a band called Meteor Tree years back when you were in Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah, I remember.
And
I remember.
They wouldn't allow me in the jam house because there was something attached to me. Like her young daughter apparently saw like a second shadow behind me, so I had to get smudged. And our singer would smudge me before I would go in. And like that was a really weird period of my time too. Like super angry, and I think that was like the end of the attachment. I'm pretty sure T had saved me from that, but everything since then's been like peachy clean, been happy.
Wow.
But it's really weird how they can attach to you. And like for the last episode too, people were wondering. I've had a couple people reach out to us asking if anything is attached to us, and I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, we made the episode in case anything was here, but I mean, like, if you guys noticed anything we didn't, let us know, because we haven't noticed anything since the eclipse, and I think it was just the energy of the night, personally. But
Yeah,
that was weird.
Everything all stems around energy. Energy is a real thing. It occupies space. It takes up space. It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the one thing, too, is, like...
Just makes sense.
With our investigations, too, we don't want to claim that anything's paranormal unless we have, like... We've been asked if we have evidence reels. And not yet, because I want to go through... I'm going to start adding them at the end, but that would take a little bit extra time for episodes to come out. But what I would like to do is go through it and gather what is actually evidence versus just kind of what, like, when we're making our episodes...
Unexplainable, and then...
evidence, exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm hearing something... and I hear it clear as day in the spirit box.
S6 method, yeah.
With the playback, when I'm going through the footage, I'll put it in the video. So that, like, obviously that's coming through, that's the word, but I don't want to claim that that's evidence, like, we're speaking to something, unless something is, like, irrefutable. You know, like, you cannot...
Intelligible responses.
Like, it has to be there for me. And there's a lot of times where I don't think we've had some moments, like, in the basement, where that was intelligent, like, clear as day, like, how many of you are down here? A group of us.
Yeah.
Like, when we were in the hostel, Megan High had a lot of really creepy ones. She asked who was here, and what scared me out of the first SS method was something really creepy and deep when I'm here. And if you listen about 2 minutes before, that same voice comes through the spirit box. So you can hear the voice, that just not the I'm here. But that's another thing that we've been asked too, is... people want to hear our aspect for the Estes method. So we have a lav mic that we're going to start plugging into the headphones and recording what is being heard in the headphones, what's being said, and what's being asked. So 3 aspects towards our investigations, because I want to make it a little more less boring. It's very hard to be a paranormal investigator and try and show from point A to point B without cuts.
Yeah.
And then making that seem like, oh, they're faking evidence. Like, we want to show you...
We're not Ghost Adventures.
Everything, you know what I mean? Like, we want to show you everything. Like, if we don't get evidence, we don't get evidence, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Realistically, our goal is to see if there is anything in the locations we go to, because our area, where we're from, in the Okanagan and BC, is an old gold rush kind of area. So everyone knows about gold rushes in, like, Nevada and...
most haunted states in
Arizona,
America,
whatnot, right?
Yeah. Nevada,
and that's the thing, is like, we have a lot of history in the BC that's not spoken about or written down.
Yes.
And that's kind of where my interest in starting this, because officially yesterday, today being the 26th, we're 2 months into doing this, and I think we've had an incredible response so far. I'm, like, absolutely in love with the amount of comments and likes and support we've gotten so far. It's
everything's been positive,
which was not what I expected, so I appreciate it, because usually when you're doing paranormal, you're gonna get a lot of hate and a lot of
that was dust.
And then, like, that's why we don't kind of, like, point out if you see orbs in the episodes and you notice we don't point them out. It's probably because we've noticed that it's dust before. We don't really show a lot of orbs. There's only been a handful.
Leave it up to your imagination.
Yeah, there's only been a handful that I'm like, that's clear as day. But do. Like, no, dust ain't gonna do that when everything else is falling down, right?
Well, at one time when I was doing the Essex method in the basement of the Penticton Railway,
station,
when you said, Rob...
It says look up.
Yeah, look up, and there's a... orb that went straight up, and also I was in the Essex method, and it was right when I had to stop. Rob asked the entity, can you touch Cole's left arm?
Yeah.
And within 10 seconds, I started getting, like, put my hand in a freezer, just instant goosebumps, cold. And the voice was raising, the man's voice. It was like getting angry. And I felt something touch me. And you look into the footage, and right at that time, coincidentally, there was an orb that floated by, right as you said, touched my arm.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, 'cause there's no
so
dust.
I'm
Going over all the
yeah.
cameras in the basement, there was no dust floating around.
So I think that orb was that man that came from underneath all the noise for 10 minutes and was just barely saying anything till the end, and then he started screaming over top, and that's what freaked me out, because that happened right as my whole left arm touched. And
that's why we want to add the lav mic into the headphones so that you can hear that aspect when we're doing investigations. And we didn't have one this week because we needed to take a little bit of a break and we have a bunch of stuff going on, and we have some coming up. I'm just waiting on some confirmation dates, and there's a couple people who are wanting to join the team, so you may see a couple extra people basically helping with camera work.
more hands,
Yeah,
less work.
there's people who are really interested in what we're doing locally. So Meg, you guys notice Meg isn't here. She's actually chilling behind us right now. She's behind the screen chilling. She's she's doing good. She's getting closer and closer to the date, so she's eventually will join us again, I'm sure, in the future with some investigations. But you guys will hear her doing a lot of like overdubs and helping me out with some of the talking over episodes, so that she's still kicking ass and I'm part of it. Because if it wasn't for Meg, I probably would never have started this. Because this is a dream I've wanted to do since I like 16, 17. And pretty much every person I've ever been with has been like, no, like, I'm not ever going to do that with you. And Meg was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm into ghosts, let's do it. So, big shout out to Meg for being the one who kind of like kicked me in the ass to get this going. So, we have lots of things on the go. We do have a couple extra gear coming, but Amazon has not delivered it. Amazon. We're waiting on our cat balls, so we did order those. The EV, they call them EMF balls, but they're just really highly sensitive cat balls that a spirit can push, and it will sense the lights off. So if you watch any other paranormal teams on YouTube, they've got those. We've got them. We've had comments about cameras, and we are working towards night vision cameras. Currently, cameras, a night vision camera can run you up to like $2,000, so we're working on it. But the cameras we have in the pitch black, we can start dimming the lights down too. It's just we want to kind of make it visible for you to be able to see what we're seeing and maybe capture things that we don't see in real time. So I have ideas too about like live streaming some investigations.
Yeah,
maybe having some third-party people come and join us that aren't
I'd like to get infrared.
super chatty.
Yeah, I like to get infrared lights too. Have that whole other color spectrum.
Yeah.
That just opens the investigation right up.
There's a few other methods that I've seen start gaining traction that I'd like to maybe try out and bring back some old ones. So I'm looking into getting dowsing rods.
Oh yes, dowsing rods.
Right, I think dowsing rods would be a fun one. Even actually doing a seance, like an old school seance that they would have done back in the 1900s, early, like 1911 when they were doing.
We don't say seances are a good thing as long as you know how to open and how to close the portal. To close your session, you have to close that door.
Yeah, you have to be safe. And you may not see us say it on camera all the time, but we pretty much tell them, like, you're not welcome to come with us. Which is why it was kind of funny that me and Meg had both seen the same thing in our bedroom. Because it wasn't a usual thing. Like, I've seen shadows. Shadow people you usually see out of the corner of your eye. Or peepers, as I call them. The ones that, like, tuck behind things, right? Like, it's always out of the corner of your eye. But this was, like, half looking at it. and it was like if you took my camera light that's right here, put it over there, and Cole stood in front of it, but it was a tiny figure. So I've never seen something that had like projected light before.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was projecting like behind it, and you could see the clear as day of the silhouette of whatever was standing there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a weird thing, but we haven't had anything happen since. Chaos has been lazy. He's just lazy most of the time. So he's not barking at anything other than
He's
squirrels.
a good puppy. He's a good boy.
Yeah, but like we do want to like emphasize that we genuinely appreciate the support you guys have given, because we're like climbing so fast towards our first goal, which is that 1,000 and the 4,000 views, because we want to make this channel grow. We really do. So we appreciate everything you guys have done, the likes, the shares, the comments, the views, because right now, which is the 26th, I keep forgetting what the date is. Yesterday was the 25th, so that would have been 2 months, and we're sitting at 233 subscribers, which is, in my eyes, an incredible climb. And huge shout out to Castanet for giving us a write up, because that pushed, like, that video is still climbing from that article. Yeah, it's at like 1,500 views just because of that, so super thankful with that. And I had some other things I wanted to talk about, but I'm spacing out.
When you think about that, I grew up, or let's just say I went to high school in a town not far from here, a town called Kamloops. And there is this part of Kamloops. I'm not gonna say what it is. Maybe I might, but don't even try to enter it anymore. It is so
I've tried.
dilapidated. The security, you won't make it past the property line.
No.
It is what is called Old Tronc Hill City, aka Padova, and that is basically where I spent my high school weekends. And that, if you've never heard of this place, it is like, it was a whole functioning town. It started off as a tuberculosis retreat, and then it grew to be the tuberculosis retreat and a mental ward, and then grew to have the houses for the doctors, school for their kids, city hall, streets, school, and it just expanded as a self-existing community, right? And I don't know how it exactly happened, but it was in the 1970s when it shut down. A lot of bad happened there. There was a children's ward. But basically, when you go in, when you step onto that property, it's, as soon as you can't even hear the hay or the weeds rustling in the wind. There's no crickets. It is dead. Every time I have gone there, I have been scared shitless out of my pants. I have been chased by something that sounded like 300 pounds with big, huge work boots on. And, like, you saw the stuff on the roof, little paint chip, like, poof, 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 poof. Myself and 3 of my other friends, we were there, and we were going through the hospital, and how the hospital is. There's only one main entrance, and then to the left, to the right, there's 2, it was the left wing and the right wing. But there's only one set of stairs, and it was right in the middle, and it just went straight up, boom, boom, up, and 3 floors. And I believe we were on the 2nd floor. Just turned the corner, coming down to the main floor, and I was leading, and for some reason I started instant sweat. I was shaking. And I don't know why, but I said to everyone, grab each other, hold each other's hands, hold on tight. and we all felt this thing come, and we haven't made it down to the bottom yet. We're probably 3/4, maybe all the way the top from the last flight of stairs to going down. But you see the door opening, and this black mass went right through, took away all light that was shining through, shining back, just black. And it just crossed, and it went away. And I've had windows slam on me before, doors slam in my face, seen things that you just can't deny, or you can't let go of. There's this one time, went into in Padova again, there's this old school gymnasium, and at the end of the gymnasium there's a little theater stage, and on each side of the theater stage there are little stairways that went upstairs, and I chose one on the left, went upstairs, and these stairs, they were so weird because it was like 2 steps and then you had to turn. It was like the super tight steps, and it was just, I have no idea why that was built. But I got to the top, and it was just this big rectangle open room, and it had basketball, volleyball nets, and everything. But in the far right corner, there was an apparition. It was like cloaked. It was just as scared as me as I was of it. And I panicked, and I like rushed up to see what it was. And the more I looked at it, the more the eyes I could see. Then I started seeing the shape of the mouth. And he was moving and shaking and scared, and I screamed and I bulldozed over all 3 of them. Yeah, I was a superhero that day.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
No, I've heard a lot of stories out of Kamloops, and that's why I wish that we could get in there. That would be one investigation that I would actually probably get terrified in.
I think they still do, like in Halloween, they do the tunnel tours.
Yeah, where they take you through. Apparently there's tunnels under Vernon too, from what I've been told, which I would love to see.
Well, yeah, because World War II, World War I, they're training there. Yeah,
So
same for
apparently there's some
Kamloops.
underground tunnels in Vernon. So if you guys have heard of that or know the location, hit us up. Come join us for an
some
investigation.
info. Yeah.
There's a couple locations too that like locally that are abandoned locations that I found on Google Earth from people basically telling me where they were, just a location, and I went and looked. And yeah, there's some really random things that are around our area that we don't know about. So there'll probably be some more like abandoned adventure episodes coming up. Hopefully the winter isn't so crazy, because we had a massive snowfall already, and it's not even December. It's still just chilling on the ground.
It's Kelowna. It shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, it
handful more dumps and we'll be good.
Yeah, no, we want to add a lot of different methods and do some more investigations.
Yes, you were saying. Yeah, you said you wanted to get the dowsing rods and.
Yeah, because that's old school.
Yeah.
That's old school. I don't know if anyone knows that, but you basically just ask the spirits to, pardon me, open or close the dowsing rods in communication. So, open for yes and cross for no, kind of a thing. And I don't know.
What is your opinion on this as?
I think I'd have to do
investigators, as we, investigate, the equipment, because of what we're investigating is from such a long time period ago. The technology.
Our history isn't that old, and that's one thing that people have said.
You think
we're not gonna have haunted houses because our history isn't that old. No, there's tons of murders in the Okanagan, and that alone will give you an impression. But there's a lot of history that is. The Okanagan wasn't we did the hostel, and it was built in 1908, and that's when Penticton became a town.
Yeah.
So 1908 really isn't that long ago compared to the states who have cities that are over 150 years old. You know what I mean?
Just wondering if you think using older techniques, the paranormal know how to use it better than
And that's another
today's
thing
technology.
too. Is like on our investigations, they don't really see us being like, "Hey, well, you can communicate through this with your voice," and because that's obvious stuff. We're gonna say every investigation. I don't feel the need to put that in and bore you guys with that. It's just get to the investigation. This is what happened through our investigation. There's our episodes, kind of a thing. But I do believe that older spirits, and Meg has brought this up too, I believe, older spirits probably don't understand cell phones and don't understand spirit boxes. So yeah, you can teach them like, hey, you can use your energy to talk through this, but like that energy, are they gonna understand that? So bringing something out like dowsing rods, or even doing, I recently bought like the long white candles to do for when we do sit down spirit box sessions, because there's theories that if it's a negative spirit, the candles wax will burn black. It'll burn blue if it's a different type of spirit. So I want to see if these actually work. I want to see if that's just bullshit, or if like, okay, like they actually genuinely do burn a different color and different spirits. And there's other things that I do question a lot of the things we have. That's why we're working towards getting better gear. Like, we turn everything on airplane mode so there's nothing coming in. But obviously a cell phone app or an app that you can download is not going to be as reliable as the actual thing. So I have downloaded just a white noise generator that I'd like to work with a noise gate and a reverb pedal, and actually make a portal so that it's not a spirit box generating radio frequencies and not coming through. It's just a white noise being canceled out and reverbed, and if any voices come through, then you can't deny that was a spirit speaking through it. And I think that's a test that I would like to run more. We did that in the graveyard, Meg and I. We tried it out and nothing came through, which I'm not surprised. It's a method I'm working on, right? So there's like different ideas that I want to implement and work on, because there's a lot that I don't like. The headphone one, I've seen one other group do that, where they put a lav mic in so you can hear what they're doing through the rest of this method. Because when I'm watching back and editing the episodes, there's a lot of parts where I'm like, well, it'd be nice to hear that audio back, to be like, did I actually hear that? Is that actually
undeniable?
What was being said? Yeah, right. Because there's times where you'll see, like during we'll be listening to the spirit box in real time, and I'll be like, oh, it said it. Listen, but in reality, it says something completely different. But in that moment, you hear something. So to be able to rule that out and rule out what is just junk being pushed out through the machines versus what is a genuine, credible reply from a spirit. Because I don't like ripping on the TV shows or anything, but like I feel like anything on TV is obviously going to be faked. Like, you can't just walk into a building and all of a sudden, unexplained footsteps. Did you hear that? Like, it doesn't happen like that. Me and Cole have walked into some like creepy ass buildings. Meg and I have too. Like the hostel, it has creepy fucking spots. Part of my language, but like there are spots in there that you just like people don't want to go in. We didn't even get footsteps. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't happen every episode. So I feel like a lot of the time the major shows will fake a lot of evidence for their views because TVs need ratings. Right? Like they need the views. As where there's a lot of credible groups on YouTube that I found that have gathered some crazy paranormal activity.
They're credible.
You
can trust that the information that they're giving is exactly what they have.
And they're just, they tend to enjoy. What up, Corey?
Corey?
We got a comment that says, Uncle Corey.
Hi. Hey. Aw, I love you, Uncle. Aw. Yay.
Fam jams.
We got someone watching. You're awesome.
Fam jams. No, so we're slowly working on adding some things. I do have, like, our bucket of tools down there. We have the Polaroid that we will be adding. Meg will help with us doing stills while we're doing investigations in the future.
We will be getting, I want to get a millimeter and an official.
REM pods would be nice.
Yeah, some REM pods. Mm-hmm. The spirit box, what is it, the SM11?
SB11.
SB11, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of material gears out there, and there's a lot of companies, pardon me, that are coming up with new ideas too. Like, I would love to just take an old radio and reverse it and sweep. And you know what I mean?
Like an old ham radio.
Yeah, or break one.
Yeah.
Like, you actually physically go in and disable that tracking on the digital clocks so that it just constantly scans in reverse, and then make your own spirit box. Like, I'd like to start building our own things, because shout out to Twin Paranormal, because they created, the music boxes where you step in front of it and it plays the music. Well, they made a Jack in the Box with what is his name? The guy from Saw, the little character that you want to play a game. Jigsaw. They put Jigsaw in the box, so if anything walks in front of the box, it pops up and starts playing music.
God.
Man, in the dark, like, I'm like, you boys are ballsy, because, like, holy crap. But, like, the fact that they created that, they took the idea from the music box and then made a Jack in the Box. Just, there's tons of different ideas and things that you can implement and create in this field too, that I think that, because it's such, for years and years and years, everyone has looked at paranormal investigations as garbage, hoaxes.
Hokey
you know,
pokey.
like, people are slowly starting to realize that there is, or possibly could be, a actual scientific element towards spirituality. And I think that is the key of what we do.
Imagine us not being the only things in this universe, eh?
Right?
Imagine!
But I had, like, my theory, I can't remember who basically explained it to me, but if you think of mass and what was created at the Big Bang, right? What was created can't be destroyed. Like, that mass can never go anywhere.
Yeah.
That matter is always going to be there, right?
Energy.
When we deteriorate, our physical body gets eaten by worms in the dirt and turns into mush. That energy is still here. Our mass is still here. So where does it go? Does that communicate? Can we still, do we just, like, cruise around and traverse through the earth as this mass being? And that's kind of why I got into paranormal. I would like to be able to communicate and see if that is what happens. Because, like, personally, I don't believe in heaven and hell. I'm not a religious person at all. I think that it's highly built on energies. And I think that that's why some spirits are stronger, some spirits are weaker, some are negative and some are positive. All energy is like that. You know, you have stronger currents of electricity, weaker currents of electricity. You have positive and negative elements towards each. And I think that that is kind of how our realm is built, and trying to break that veil is my biggest goal. Like, I don't really care if I get picked up and tossed around by a poltergeist. That's not what I'm doing. I just want to see what is past us melting into the dirt.
Well, for me, believe it or not, I went to Catholic school for most of my elementary years and had to wear the uniform, went to church, prayed 1,000 times a day, the whole works, and this whole topic very frowned upon and not talked about at all. Because I remember bringing up my nightmares and that entity that used to sit at the end of my bed and push the mattress down. And I would talk to the priest about it, and I don't remember what, but he shut me off from that very quickly and diverted. But with that also, it's probably just been implanted into my subconscious, the good and evil, heaven and hell. The Catholic religion just took the good and evil and put a name to it.
Yeah.
Heaven and hell.
And that's how I think it was basically
And
what it is.
so it's all the yin and yang. And good and evil.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns. Like, human beings have this weird ego where science doesn't prove something, so it's not real, and then all of a sudden science proves it's real. So we always push that line a little bit, So there will come a time where I think paranormal investigating is actually a lot more accepted in society as being like a credible thing versus just being like something entertaining to watch. Because it is very entertaining to watch. It can get boring at some parts. Like, there's tons of episodes that I watch from my favorite YouTube channels. They get boring, but I stick through because
that's the credibility. They're showing you that.
Yeah, right? Like, you're never going to have, like,
it's not all the time.
proof and evidence. Like even here, like our spirit box went crazy when we did the investigation here. And like there's been times where you and I have walked around with it and it's just dead silent. It's just static going through. But like here it was just like spitting out some weird things. Like if you haven't watched the Shadow in the Light episode, check it out, because like some of the creepiest things I've ever heard come out of a spirit box are in that episode. Like where it says like "F you now or I'm a burn." Like it's the weirdest, like digitalized watery voice, and that doesn't ever come through. Like you never hear that, and all of a sudden it was just like there. And like there are things I'm noticing after a lot of our investigations.
But before you get so onto that, I'd stick to the watery noise. Water, people believe that water is a huge conduit of energy. So to have a watery voice coming through the spirit box, it all.
And we're not far, like where we live is like a block away from Okanagan Lake too, right? Like it's where I'm like, it was really weird because like the area we are was like farmland and like wasn't really taken much of. Like you have the mission, Father Pandosi's mission, which is like he was a Catholic priest that was here to help do what he can, and he did what he did, and he left like this really cool historical buildings and stuff, and they're like a block or two away from our house, but we're technically like on the land that would have been theirs. Back in the day.
My girlfriend and I went and did a little investigation of Father Pandosi's yard property, and it was weird. We felt nothing, but it was near the end. We started talking, and we were both drawn the whole time into the back marsh area, and this marsh area had to have been, gosh, at least a few acres. It was just huge, and you can't go into it, but we think that there was something heavy and negative that was going on back then with the Christianity priest and original people that lived here,
the indigenous
and
tribes. That was one thing we did.
Horrible.
We host another show, so if anyone's ever curious what Enigma is like the big brother of Broken Cross Paranormal. Basically, it was the company that I had created to make film and help bands by interviewing them and blah, 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 blah. We did a TV show for TELUS over the summer called Unique Minds, and we interviewed the guy who runs the tours of Father Pandosi's. And it was a really interesting thing to hear because he definitely brought up he doesn't hide the history of what the Catholics did with the indigenous people here. He's very open about it and how, that's why Father Pandiosi was here, was to convert people to Catholicism, but he apparently was really good to the people and apparently was an amazing person. And the funniest thing I found out was like he walked around barefoot even in the winter.
Really?
Yeah, he was just so in tune. Like he loved the way they lived, and that he actually walked around barefoot in the winter.
I wonder because we took a bunch of pictures, and especially of his statue. I want to go through and see if they have the statue of him in shoes or.
No, the statue's barefoot.
Really?
Yeah, it's barefoot. That's
neat.
That's why I asked when we did the interview. We were standing in front of the statue. I'm like, why has he got no shoes on? He's like, he walked around barefoot, and I'm like, what? Like I was so confused. But yeah. No, there's like we live in a really weird area. Like I find like a lot of them other paranormal investigators live in such a massive cities that they have to travel different states and stuff. Like there are some amazing paranormal groups locally. Like they're not filming them and putting them on YouTube. We do that just because I think people deserve to see it. They're strictly for investigating and helping people, and they're amazing people. We interviewed one of the teams, Faculty X. Her name's Kay. She's an incredible person, and she actually getting to sit down with a paranormal investigator from England who came over and does it here. She even says that the history from England, which is so rich and old and cultural, she loves doing it here because it's unknown. There's an unknown element to our history. Like, you know about the history that happened in Europe and in
the medieval
and in America, but like there's not a lot of history on Western Canada's grow up because it happened so fast, and it was gold rush and all these other different type of mineral buildups.
And it was the indigenous and their beliefs and their
that's another thing, right?
Their energy, like their beliefs, they had so much energy into Mother Nature that They believe giants were, like,
There actually is
how
legends
can you not?
of giants in the Okanagan.
You
If
can't
don't know
deny
about that,
it.
look it up.
Yeah.
There's multiple, not Bigfoot. I mean like giants. There's actual giant stories from the Okanagan, like from Karamias and Oliver region. Like their indigenous people were marrying giants. So like there's stories of this that are written down and documented in what is it called? The English version of the Smithsonian, I think it is. It's like the Scottish or British, whatever it is. Blanking, but it is like there's a lot of really crazy theories. From the one that everyone knows, obviously, the Ogopogo and Sasquatch are the two biggest Aboriginal cryptids that people know of in the Okanagan. But we have giants. There's the tales of the Wolfmen, which was one that I had heard about from my brother and sister, and finally looking it up and seeing like the actual stories of what they were. They're from just outside of I want to say Headley, but it's in between Merritt, I believe. Actually, it's just outside of Merritt. There's a small community on the reservation there that has like stories of dog people that used to like kidnap their kids and stuff. So
well, that would relate into the shapeshifter stories,
right, and that's one thing I'm also curious about. Like YouTube is just riddled with skinwalker videos nowadays, right?
Everything has to come from something.
Exactly, and I'm very curious to see what I'd like to have a sit down with like West Kelowna's First Nations band, and like see if we could get like a sit down and conversation with them about all of their cryptids, and then kind of do like a cryptid episode where we go out and look for them. If that's something you guys are down for, like drop that in the comments for us, because we want to know if you guys are enjoying the longer form content too. I know that we've had some people on our votes or on our polls during our premieres say yes, but if you could comment if you want longer form content or shorter form content, because we can definitely cram the episodes down from an hour or 40 minutes to 20 minutes if that's what you'd like, and do multiple. But basically just let us know what you guys prefer. I do have some more cryptid episodes coming I'm working on, and like I was mentioning there, I'm trying to stay focused to our local ones. I think that would be pretty amazing, is kind of like exposing our local history in that aspect.
We got enough here locally to, let's decipher, figure out more about our history, and then spread out and see if there's synchronicities and things that link up.
Well, we've been asked to go to the Lower Mainland and do some investigations. That'll probably happen in like late spring, early summer, if we are going to be able to take a trip down there. But when our band does go on tour through Alberta in the summer, we're going to try and investigate as many spots as we can on the road.
If you guys don't know, Rob and I, we're a part of a killer band, Storm the Empire.
Check them out. I'll put the link description. If you guys are into metal, check it out. Cole's an amazing vocalist, and I play some stringy things, so...
we make good noises.
Yeah, we make good noises. Check it out. Yeah. But when we go on tour in spring, we'll probably hit Alberta, and there's a couple places out there I'd love to hit. I was just I was just researching Jasper, and apparently Jasper has an incredibly haunted lodge that everyone has experiences, and that's another one of the areas where tons of Bigfoot sightings, local indigenous stories of giants throughout the Rockies. If you've never been or seen the Rockies, like, my goodness, like they're so great, majestic. Like there's definitely something hiding out there. There's no doubt about it.
You can't see the top of the mountains.
No, when you're driving, you're like, you try to put your head out the window and you're still looking up. It's hard to describe how
24/7, 365 snow on these mountains.
Yeah,
right?
They're gorgeous. Like we're lucky to live where we do.
I heard there's in Falkland, which is a small community, not too far from Kelowna here.
Nope.
But I've been told by a couple of reliable sources that back in the day, the Aboriginal people believed that valley was an evil valley. It had this evil energy that it all just flowed down the mountains and
Nestled in that little
nestled
area.
and grew and festered in what would be Falkland and the Falkland area, and that's why there was no Aboriginal tribes that lived directly there or grew crops or did anything. They believed that there was skinwalkers, there was the wolf cryptids. They believed that even the soil itself was tainted with a negative energy. That's why they never grew. But now you drive through Falkland and it's changed quite a bit.
You got the big gypsum mine there.
Yeah.
I wonder if that has anything to do with it, because it is a crystal that probably does have some
Crystal
form of like
is
property
energy,
with
yeah.
spirituality. So if you know what gypsum does, if it is actually indeed a crystal, and I'm not just talking on my butt, let us know in the comments, because or I'll check it out after.
Gypsum.
Yeah.
Gypsum.
Like what
That
they use in
gypsum board is like drywall.
Yeah, but it's a crystal when they're mining it, isn't it not? And they crush it down, right?
I don't know. Should have got me a joint before.
Or
I
maybe,
might have
right?
answered. Yeah.
So, no, I definitely think that we got a lot coming for you guys, and we're very thankful for all the support so far. I do know that about 79% of the people watching our content aren't subscribed. We do get those numbers, so do us a huge favor. Please subscribe to our channel. It helps us. We were trying to reach that 1,000. That's our goal. We want to beat it. Help us beat our goal. And
with each subscribe, it just helps us get more equipment, more avenues for us to go to show you guys all this cool content that we've found in our homeland, where we live.
And if you are interested and have locations, if you have a location and would like us to join, feel free to reach out to us. Our email is in our About section. That's the future little paranormal investigator. She just woke up. Don't mind her.
Any places that you can think of that we haven't mentioned, please, by all means.
Us to check us out. I kind of reach out to everybody. I'm just waiting on responses, but I've probably emailed and reached out to about 50 other locations locally, from Kelowna, Oliver, Vernon. I was waiting, hopefully the snow melts and we have a nice little area that we could sneak down to Oliver, because I have a special episode that I would like to film, but if I have to wait till spring, I will. Maybe summer, I don't know. It's in really bad rattlesnake area, so we'll see how that goes. But there's an old ghost town outside of Oliver, which was Oliver before Oliver, and it's called Fairview. And I've kind of mapped out where the hotel was that burnt down, and there was a lady who died in that fire. And I've also mapped out where the old saloon was in the hills. So I guarantee there's a lot of stories that happened in the
saloon in the hills.
It's just off of the old gold rush trail. So
during the gold rush, so there's gambling, bordello,
we'll hopefully
prostitutes.
We'll probably have my buddy Joel join us for that. Joel, maybe we can get Joel to come do one of these with us, because Joel used to own the Greek house in Lake Country. We worked together. And
many a meals I have had there when I lived in Winfield.
Yeah, he changed it. He called it Mazzetta's. Well, it was Mazzetta's. I worked for him, and that building is extremely haunted. You ever want to go have dinner in a really haunted building? Go to hit up a Greek house in Winfield in Lake Country. He has a video of like a single plate on the wall rattling, and then we were doing hip hop. We used to do hip hop together, and during a practice in there after work, we watched a wine glass explode from the inside out. Not like crumble and fall into itself, but quite literally, psh, 3 of us saw it, and we were all like, what the hell? And one day we were setting up, the microwave went flying off the counter, and we had a table that went in the coolers, and we leaned it up against the wall, and it flew across the room. Like, building is crazy haunted. He's got videos of, like, cupboards opening upstairs, and then unit upstairs, and he's a magnet for spirituality things, man. So maybe one day we'll get Joel to come join us. Oliver's about 2-hour drive from there, 1.5 hour, 2-hour drive, something like that. So when it gets a little warmer, we'll head up that way. we definitely want to come up to Kamloops. There's a wicked team that actually just stopped, sadly. Jason is a wicked dude, and the Paranormal Network.
Agreed. Yes.
They're
Full-heartedly.
awesome people. It's sad to see that they just shut their channel down, but hopefully we can pick up where the groups left off, and we can continue to kind of push the local historical aspect, because they've done a lot of great things, and we kind of want to continue to do.
Be neat to have a future episode with Jason.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to have Jason
know.
join us. He's a wicked guy. But yeah, we want to thank you guys for everything. It's been an incredible journey, and it's just starting. Like 2 months in, and we've already basically killed what my other company's YouTube channel was at after like 2 years of hard work. So thank you guys. It's great to see the support, because apparently there's more support in the paranormal, which is awesome, than band interviews. But if you guys want to check out some wicked band interviews, shout out to Nate Trash or Trash Talk with Nate Trash. If you guys do want to check out some wicked band interviews, he's a homie from Alberta who's killing it in the interview scene. So go peep his channel. He's done a lot of help with me in this one, and he supports us big time. So shout out to Nate. And yeah, I want to thank everybody for all your support. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yep.
Whoever tuned in.
Give it a like, and make sure you subscribe.
And please share.
Yeah.
Please share.
Check out the last episodes too. I know that a lot of people haven't seen the Shadow in the Light episode, and it's got a lot of really creepy things in that episode. And Meg actually scares the absolute shit out of me, which I don't get scared easily, but she fucking terrified me.
We love constructive criticism.
Yes, we do.
So any comments, anything,
Yes.
please just feel free.
I definitely want to say one huge thank you to one commenter that we got the other Audio Lib, I believe it is. If I mispronounce it, I'm sorry, but
What?
they left us a comment basically saying that where our subtitles are, we need to change our subtitle position and make them a little bit longer. And it was amazing criticism or constructive criticism.
Yeah, yeah.
But they also had mentioned that they just found our channel, and that they could already tell that our channel was going to grow, and that they said that we had better content than a lot of other people. And I personally don't believe so, but I thank you, because that, to
It's
me,
real
it
content.
genuinely makes
It's
me
real.
super happy, because this is out of pocket at the moment, and we want to see this grow. And even if it never gets to a point where it's not out of pocket, I'm still gonna do it. This is what I love to do, and that's all that really matters.
It's what we do.
Yeah, this is
who
this is
we
our
are.
life. We make music and we find ghosts.
Yeah.
That's it.
Profile bio.
Yeah.
Music. Ghosts.
If you guys do want to see more lives with me and Cole, this is the first episode at the beginning. That's why it's called that. It was basically just to get us talking about why we got into paranormal investigating, because that's been one question I keep getting a lot, is like, how did you guys get into this, and what got you into it? And living in creepy ass fucking houses, basically.
Seeing things
yeah.
you just
And
you
like,
can't
There's
forget.
more people out there that have experiences and kind of are scared to explain them or say them out loud. Like, say it.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to tell your experiences. There's no point in hiding it. It's a reality. It does happen.
Nobody can say that it didn't happen.
Yep. No, exactly. And in all reality, it comes down, like, what we find, the evidence that we find, you guys are the ones who judge. Like, you're our judge, our jury. That's how I feel. Like, we give you, this is what we found. You guys tell us what you think is evidence and what you think is hokey pokey. So I want to thank you guys once again. I'm Rob.
I'm Cole.
And this has been Broken Cross Paranormal on Air, episode 1.
Peace.
Peace, guys.
Whoa.